Hey everyone, it's pie day, so I decided to make some vegan chocolate pie with no experience and no recipe. This sounds like a me move. So I really like apple pie, so I was looking for pie recipes, but they're all super complicated and require puff pastry, which takes forever to make vegan because I don't have vegan puff pastry on hand. So I was looking for a way to cheat and not exactly make pie. So here I'm actually using a recipe for vegan chocolate pudding. I evidently don't know how to make pudding. I was supposed to sift the ingredients, but I didn't sift the ingredients, so it ended up kind of lumpy, and when I ate it, I got lumps of cornstarch sometimes, which is actually okay because cornstarch doesn't taste like anything, but it's still kind of a weird texture. And then I actually managed to add double the amount of cornstarch here because I halved the entire recipe but forgot to halve the amount of cornstarch. And then I also didn't add enough sugar in the start because I was supposed to add a third of a cup of sugar, but instead picked up the quarter cup measure and put that amount of sugar in. So I eventually had to top up the amount of sugar. And then I didn't mix it properly, so that's why you can see here it isn't forming up for quite a while, and when I turned on the flame I ended up burning the dry ingredients and the pot because there was just like a puddle of dry ingredients at the bottom. And this is kind of the point where I realized that I had messed up somewhere. I think I screwed up. But all's good. The pot's alive and the pudding's alive, I think. Then next I made a pie base so it's actually a pie-ish by crushing up digestive biscuits and mixing it with melted butter. Then I pressed this base into these tiny little cupcake molds, and this reminds me of this one time I made vegan cheesecake in a similar way, and it's something that I really would want to remake if I had any idea how I made it the first time, because the first time I made it I didn't use a recipe. I used like a bunch of different recipes combined together and I never wrote down how I made it, and I really want to make it again but I don't remember how I made it, so that is an idea for next time. Anyways, next I glooped the pudding in there, and this was so satisfying because the pudding was so gloopy. My dad and I had a debate about whether gloopy is a word, and I won because it is a word and I really like that word. Gloopy, 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 gloop, gloop, gloop. Then I put this in the freezer and waited impatiently for it to set. Now you can enjoy watching me struggle to get my pie out, and even though it didn't come out clean, it wasn't a hot mess, which is surprising because I expected it to just collapse in on itself, but it somehow held its shape, like the precarious position that apple strudel is in. Like, there's nothing holding it together, but somehow it isn't collapsing, which is some miracle, but cool. Honestly, this pie is just a lump, and I'm okay with it. It is beautiful just the way it is. So, happy Pie Day, and it's also International Math Day, apparently. The pie was good, but I can taste the cornstarch lumps. It's perfectly gloopy, which I personally really like the texture of, and honestly it's pretty good for being so easy. And my only thought when eating this is that I should really eat this with bananas. It would go really, really well with bananas. That's such a random thought. Anyway, happy Pie Day.